Sometimes Instagram act a little funny. Hold on, guys. I need to make sure Instagram is good. It gives time if everybody. It gives you time to jump in too. I don't know why that happens, but we're getting started. Hey. All right. So, welcome to the Renee Adams Show and Empowerment Week. Just a few things before we get started. Please like, share, and comment on this page. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me. Let's chat and talk about you being a guest. However, tonight I have my guest, Coleen Otero. She's a beauty branding expert, author, and founder of CEO Chicks, a network branding agency and nonprofit that provides women business owners with content, coaching, and community to build lucrative brands. And Coleen leverages her lessons learned and obstacles faced during her entrepreneurial journey to help other women succeed as entrepreneurs. So, welcome to the show, Coleen.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank you to say, Renee, thank you so much for having me. I'm like switching hats. I'm usually the one where I'm usually in your position.
Oh, right. You're right. Co-host. Yes.
Like, hold on. Let me shift gears. Yeah, let me shift gears. Okay.
No, just relax. Right. Just we get to have a conversation with you, Coleen, about all your work. And we do have a lot to cover because you've shifted so many times. And so I would just want to know your journey and how you got started with CEO Chicks.
Absolutely. CEO Chicks started so organically. I am here in the Central Florida region, and I'm an entrepreneur. Like I came out the womb that way, just ready to go for it. Always loved doing hair as a young child. I grew up in an all-girl family. My mother was not graced to do hair. And so I learned how to do my own hair. And from there, just started to run with entrepreneurship as I got older. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and that was to help women feel good on the inside and out. So CEO Chicks came about by just creating organic relationships with women on and offline, and being able to just talk to them about my journey as an entrepreneur. It started to evolve. I remember creating the t-shirt before it was even the name of the network or anything like that. I remember purchasing a shirt, and the shirt said something like Miss CEO or something like that. And I literally said to my girlfriend when I wore it, I wish it said CEO Chick, like that, like that's just more me.
Right.
And so she was like, we should do it. We should do a shirt that say CEO Chick. And we did.
Yes.
It sold out immediately. And the ladies that I was already networking with online, they were like, you know what, we should name our group CEO Chick, because the group was called Get It Girls, short for gig. It's still up today. That group is still up today. So we rebranded, we just went for it. We would meet online, offline, and it just began to evolve as the needs of the women came about, right? There were things I couldn't do. Like there are just things that I'm not called to do. I'm not anointed to do, but I know other people that are. Because one thing about a good hairstylist, they know how to network. They know so many people. You move into a good city, isn't it? You move into a new city and find a good hairstylist, and you'll be surprised.
Girl, yes. As far as how many people they know, their network and all of that. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I should be taking advantage of that a lot more, because you're right. That is so true. So yeah. And so when it comes to being a beauty branding expert, like, help us understand exactly what that is and what you do.
Absolutely. And so transitioning from behind the chair, like 20 plus years of working that gift. Look, I had to give a 1 year notice to my clients. Like, I'm going to be transitioning from behind the chair. So the beauty industry afforded me opportunities to help women with their overall brand, because as you know, technology, Facebook, social media, some people remember MySpace, back in the day, it just changed the way we did business. Like, everyone gets photo shoots nowadays, even if they don't have a quote unquote business yet. You know what I mean? Their online presence is very important on social media, even if they don't have a website.
Okay.
So different requests started coming my way. Can you travel with me to this city? Can you oversee this photo shoot? Can you help me with this book cover? Can you help me with this album cover? Like, the requests just started coming, right? And so my business, that's right. And so I noticed my business starting to just shift.
Right.
And so beauty, branding, and business became my 3 lanes. Like, those were the things that you meet me, that's what you're going to get. Right. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you beauty. I'm going to help you enhance what you have in some shape, way, or form. When it comes to branding, I'm going to help you when it comes to developing your brand. What does it look like online? How are you going to show up in the marketplace? And business, how does it equate to dollars? Because you can have a brand and not have a business, right?
Right.
You can have the look, the feel, the messaging, all of those things are well put together, but nobody's clicking, no one's doing business with you, no one's looking to hire you, right? So
so what is there all
became my lane.
Yeah. So if you were to give some tips on what that includes, as far as when people are trying to get their brand and their image together, like, what are some tips that you would give to those people who
that question's twofold, right? So one, you said, what does it include? And then what are the tips, right? So first, let me say, what does it include? So working with someone to develop their brand. I work with women that are in the industry like me, like I used to be, as far as beauty industry, and looking to transition because they don't want to get stuck behind the chair. But I also find that I attract women that just that lack that business acumen, or they also lack the aesthetic piece. Like, they wouldn't know what colors should I use? Like, they're not thinking about that. You know what I mean? How should my pictures look? What should my photo shoot be like? So sometimes they're not even like able to formulate or gather those things together. So to answer your question, what it looks like: strategizing, meeting, coming up with ideas, understanding your brand. Who is your audience? What is your message? What is your method? Like, what is it that you walk people through? I ask some of the tough questions, and you'll be surprised how long it will take an individual to be able to tell me what their process is, what their creative process looks like, what is their method like to get clients, or whatever the product is that they offer, to get people from A to Z. You know what I mean? Or how the product works. Our customers well educated? What do we want to do? How do we want to take that information and share it according to your brand? Right? Because the brand is the unique difference.
And do you feel like the image should be pretty consistent overall?
Absolutely. There's consistency, but there's also room for evolving, and there's room for change. There's room. Sometimes we have brand colors, and we think, everything on social media has to be that same color, like period, point blank. That's not true. You can change things with the seasons. You do things according to themes. I just did an entire presentation for one of my clients that is not even in the beauty space. Like, as time has evolved and I've grown in my agency with my branding and marketing agency, I've attracted different clients, people in the civil rights era and political scene. And so much has changed because beauty is a part of marketing, right? Beauty is a part of marketing. That's my way of saying sex sells in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
having that,
right?
Uh-huh.
You hear that all the time, but
Mhm.
beauty is a part of selling, whether we like it or not. It's why we go where we go. It's why we save money for trips. It's why we want to go, to this particular restaurant. It's why we want to go to this particular place to shop, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But,
Right.
but ultimately, the process begins with color. I was saying I'm with them. I went through an entire presentation on color coded campaigns, and what color theory and how color theory plays a role in how we market.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
gets pretty deep, but
Right. Mhm.
strategy is a huge part of developing your brand and understanding your brand story
Okay.
as well, and your brand identity, and pulling that out, because it's more of what's not seen first. It's your personality, right? It's the things that make you unique. It's sometimes your language. I spend time with people and I'm like, your way of communicating is so special and unique, and they don't even realize it.
That is
They like
so important for someone like you to pull that out of people to make them aware.
Exactly, and it
Mhm.
is so much digging.
Yeah, right.
I had a client said, "Okay, here you come with your shovel." You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes they just want to copy something they see online, or I like this, I like that, I like this, I like. Okay, well,
Mhm.
let's develop what's going to be yours, right?
Right. Yes. That is
Let's
so
develop
true.
what's unique
What's
about
for
you.
you? Yes. Oh, I like that because we can fall so easily into social media when it's all glammed up, but it's perfect for that individual. It fits their whole theme and what's going on in their life, and it's nice to be inspired, but it's also nice to be have your own unique look and style, so people can be inspired by that because it's unique to you. It's
Yeah.
your it's yours, like you said.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I really, just by the direction of this conversation and what we're talking about, the two tips I would share, right? Because I have so many, but the two I want to share right now, even with what we just talked about, is not be okay to incubate, like be okay pulling away and taking time to understand, what is my message? If I
Right.
had to sum it up in a sentence, what would my message be? What's
Mhm.
my mantra? You know what I mean?
I like that too.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
what's my mantra? What's my mission
Mhm.
statement? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And build from there. So be okay to incubate. That's one thing I would say to those that are watching and listening. Secondly, stop comparing.
Mhm.
The
Mhm. Absolutely.
comparison can get you into so much trouble. It can get you, you experience some, FOMO, or, feeling like you're missing out, or I should be much further along, or there's so much that comparison can really rob us of,
Yeah, I
and
agree with that
so
too.
what
Yeah.
I've had to stop women from literally comparing their brand that like barely is just started, right? Like we just,
Mhm.
to
It
a
takes
more
time.
established,
It takes right to establish it. It takes time.
right. And so those are
Mhm.
two tips I would give in regards to branding is don't be afraid to incubate. Don't be afraid to log off and I say, fast. Not when
Mhm.
I tell people don't be afraid. We say we're gonna fast, for from food and sweets and sugars and intermittent fast. I'm like, well, you need to fast from other things too.
Mhm.
There are times you have to break away from the noise and really get
Yeah.
along with yourself to identify your
Your
message and your
identity.
voice.
Yeah, your identity too. Basically. So when we think about the pitfalls that most of your clients had dealt with before dealing with you, what would you say most of the pitfalls are?
So a majority of my clients are like beautiful brown women.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the pitfalls that they fall into is a lack of resources. Period. Not a lack of talent, not a lack of work ethic, not a listen, talk about the most creative.
Uh-huh.
I mean, ride or die. I mean, it just hard working women. Money. The
And so
number one
why do you think
issue
that
is
is?
money. is money. So there's a lot of external things. There's a lot of society, societal issues that we face, right? There's
Mhm.
a huge disparity. We already are fully aware of the wealth gap that exists for a lot of African American women. When the American Express Business Report is kind of one of the resources that I use regularly when I'm speaking, when I'm pitching, when I'm talking about the disparity in our community and comparing that in 2019, Black women were making an average of about 66,000 a year in their business to their minority counterparts, which went up, to $212,000. So a lot of times when I'm on news broadcasts, they're bringing me in to talk about what is it that Black women can do? How can we help more Black women when it comes to the wealth gap, when it comes to where their place in the marketplace? So there's a lot of things that that go into that,
Yeah. Do you think that it has to do with
into that disparity.
the disparity of it? Yeah.
Yeah. Some of it's definitely racial. Some of it, we already know 2020 highlighted so much of that
Mm-hmm.
for us, that it's here, it's alive, it exists. There are just those prejudices that exist. And so you see more and more communities building together and
Right.
pulling resources together and helping one another, and how can we support each other to keep
Yes.
the
Yes.
dollar rotating in our communities more and more. So it's an ongoing conversation, but the number one thing is access to capital. That's the number one issue. Yeah,
Yeah,
is access to
and
capital.
sometimes I remember watching a YouTube video about that, and I remember a woman saying that they don't have they wish that the government would give them the necessary tools and where to find those resources from,
Yeah, they
and
make you dig.
yeah,
Yeah,
that you can
they make you
dig.
dig, they make you work. You know what I mean? There's a lot of red
Right.
tape. There's a lot of red tape that's involved.
Yeah.
A lot of digging, a lot of research. The banks won't give loans, you know, as they don't make it as readily available. So there are some of those external things, and then there are
Mhm.
also a lack of information as well, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So on the other side, how do I set up my business credit? You know what I mean? How do I make sure that I'm ready and prepared for a loan? What are some other ways I can get funding? If I'm going to fundraise on my own, I'm just bootstrapping it. If I'm going to go, the PPP loan route, what do I need to have
Right.
to be prepared for that? What are some of the grants that are out there? What are some pitch contests that I can do? And
Right.
it really
Okay.
becomes, you got to get real creative when it comes to funding for
Funding.
your
Yeah.
organization. Mm-hmm.
But how would someone really know about all these things that you talked about if they don't have the knowledge? If they don't know?
Correct. And that's where coaching comes in. And that's why
Right.
the, CEO Chicks is here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we literally, one of our members, I remember it was the month of February, we started focusing our courses all around pitching. How to pitch, how to stand your ground and look investors, angel investors, banks, whomever, you might get an opportunity on Clubhouse. How do you pitch your business, right? And so we taught around that entire month
Yeah.
how to plan for that, how to set up a proposal. A lot of people don't even know what proposals look like if you want to pitch your business to a corporation. So what does that deck look like? We just deep dive into all that by way of our experience, my team and I. And I was so excited. One of our members was able to get a $20,000 grant
Mm.
in her pitch contest that she,
Oh, that
you
was
know,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. That
yeah.
was, I mean,
It
extra,
was
right?
right on
Extra money
time.
for the
Yeah.
business. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It was right on time. And so, mentorship is huge. It's why we make it so affordable for women to join the network. It's no other reason. Like, get the information that you need, go through the steps. People have to know, it's not going to be easy. You have to be in this for the long haul, and you have to keep your day job, for those of you that have it, keep your day job, work very well with your money, as disciplined as you can with your money, and make time to work on your business
So
and
for
take
people,
it from there.
and that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. So the people who they believe that they can't afford your services, like what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, number one, don't assume.
Okay, there you go. I love that.
Don't
No,
assume.
absolutely.
There's definitely payment plans. We work with so many women. We work with those that are still full time, and working their businesses at night. Most of our clients are full time entrepreneurs, and we've seen them grow into the 6 and 7 figure marks, which is
Wow.
exciting
Nice.
to be able to experience, but ultimately, don't start with the coaching, start with getting on our YouTube, start with stalking. A lot of them stalk our page when they don't, that's what you got to do at that point. If you don't have any funds, then you
Right.
get every and anything that is free, right?
Yeah, you
Right
got
now,
to. Yeah.
right now, right now I make sure I grab the copy of my book. My book is actually free. This is one of the things in my time of meditation and just constantly hearing the news about the wealth gap and the disparity, and Black women now, due to the pandemic, we're 3 times likely to fail in business. Why
Mhm.
is that? And so when I was on the news again here recently talking about that, it's really because of not being able to have they haven't been in business that long. A majority of these women started in 2017, 2016 there, and most businesses do not even make it past the 3-year mark. And so you add a pandemic to the mix. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
what
That's
do you
right.
think is yeah,
Even
what do you think is gonna happen?
Woo!
So without the time of
Mhm.
mentorship, without the time of seeing enough revenue generated, without enough time to build a solid foundation, a pandemic will take anybody out, regardless of color,
You
right?
are so right. Absolutely. So and you mentioned being creative.
Absolutely.
Being creative in these times is, the most important lesson, right, that we learn is how to be creative and take that into, the new shift that we're in. Like use that creativity. And I believe that it should have already been there. I think that we just get lazy sometimes, and we don't allow ourselves the creative juices to flow and us to take action and put it into action as they come. I think when it came to the pandemic, people, they were able to quiet themselves and stop, and all of these things started to come about of how to be creative. What can I do? And that should be kind of like an ongoing thing. But that is what one of the benefits I feel that the pandemic has brought to most of our lives is how to be creative. And time
Yeah,
gets rough like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're absolutely right.
Hmm. And so your book, because that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. What are some of the things that you talk about in that book that will teach women the lessons
Sure.
that they need on branding?
Sure. It is a deep dive. The book let me just say, I've had women tell me they took about 9 months to go through it because of
Mhm.
all the
Oh,
thought-provoking questions that I placed in there. And ultimately, it's really helping you find that brand identity at the end of the day, So we go through understanding storytelling. What is your story? Break your story down into 3 various parts, right? If you had to tell your story, what would that sound like, right? And some
mhm,
women
mhm.
had never even thought about it. What is my story, right? What's the solution that I bring to the marketplace? I
Mhm.
dive into what is your style, right? What is your way, your
Love it.
your unique way of doing and being and moving? Like, what is that?
Wow.
And identify that, and let's list it out. Even development, self-development. What are the books that you're reading? What are some of the tools that you're invest in, classes that you're willing to invest in to sharpen your gift and to be the best at what it is that you do? So it's a really good read. And what takes the most time are what I call the B2B moments, when you have to literally write down the question, answer the questions that I ask you, right? One of the other things also that the book deep dives into is how to launch your product. And I think that's one of the big, like the cherry on top, how
It's
to
difficult.
launch,
Yeah.
how
That's
to launch your
no
brand, you
knowledge.
know.
Yeah, the knowledge that we need. Yeah.
Because we think it's idea and implementation and see what happens. Like,
Mhm.
no, there's some strategy that's required. There's some things you want to map out. There's some budgets you want to understand.
Mhm.
Who are the people that are involved? What's their role going to be? When and where are you going to do this launch? Are you getting the product in people's hands before? Do you have the feedback? Are you able to utilize client testimonies and stories in your official launch? Right. So these are things people don't always think about.
That's true.
We
Yeah. I
we
mean,
we
you
kind
just
of
seem
we
so
kind of we
knowledgeable.
kind of just run. We just run.
We just run. You seem so knowledgeable, and I can see why you've been so successful. And you even worked with celebrities and things like that too. So there must be something about you that brings these people, these types of people, the clientele, and so on and so forth to you. And I can see you're so knowledgeable with your books. That even puts you on a higher scale as well because of that. And everything to me, it just makes sense. It's streamlined the way that you explain everything. And I'm happy to have you here as a guest because you really are sharing information that us women, especially Black women, need to understand and know. And I feel like you could be that resource. And people need to follow the links that Jennifer just placed, and I just
Yes.
placed
Hey,
here on the
Jen.
screen. And thank you, Jennifer, that I also placed here on the screen to at least do their research to learn more about you, because I did that. I learned more about you through social media, and you do a good job of making sure people know who you are. So that right there will tell people exactly what kind of work you do and your work ethic. That's what I saw
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad that's reflected. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I have to give what I see, I give it back so that way, my people are aware of the good things that they're doing and the inspiration that they're providing to people who may not even say anything to you. But I saw that. So there you go. So is there anything else that you would like to share, Colleen?
Um, no, like I want them to get the book, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself, take the time to get to know what you're carrying. And I think that's part of what my success has been all about. I don't get caught up in the who so much. You know what I mean? I really don't. I think I'm called to the what, like what is the assignment? What is the purpose? What is the ultimate goal? What,
Right.
and you know what I mean? And then I get into the how. So I really believe that is the reason why I've been able to see the success that I have, because regardless of the person's stature, right, in
Mhm.
society, it always comes back to that. Like, it's not about just being able to impress anyone. It's, can you impact them?
There you go.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Can you impact them?
I
And
like the way you think.
that's it. That's it. That's
There you
that's
go.
that's that's me right there. That's my secret sauce. That I
Okay.
get so excited. I'm like, listen, do you know how impactful you are? Do you know how powerful you are? I meet some women, they just open their mouth and it's just like,
Yeah.
wow.
Blows you away. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to work with
Mhm.
you. I want you
Yeah.
got we gotta record. You gotta do a podcast. Then we gotta get that into a book. And we got, like, I just can see the impact that the gifts that God has given us and how we can continue to just be a blessing to our communities. And that's I'm here for it.
Well, you definitely have a vision and you're following through, and it shows. So, and you're helping other women have that vision too. of themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a
yeah,
gift. It really is. And you were able to
yeah.
take it from styling hair all the way up to what you are now and what you're doing today. So good for you, Colleen. Good for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm telling you, our wealth is on the other side of that service that we have. Like if someone watching right now is lacking financially, they need to find where they can serve. That's
Mhm.
really all it boils down to, is where they're called to be a solution and where they can serve. And when they find that, it's just a matter of time. It's
That's a
just a
great
matter of time.
tip.
Yeah.
Thank
So you got to serve. You're not serving enough, sis. You got to serve. Sometimes we just get so caught up in throwing
you.
things out and seeing what sticks and how it can make money. No, no. Do yourself a favor. Figure out where you're called to serve and what, and just how you can be an asset and what it is that God has given you, graced you with, gift you with. You do it in your sleep. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And
No, beautiful. Absolutely.
find
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for that. Yeah. So we're going to end the broadcast. And I just want to thank you again, Colleen, for being on the show. You shared so much great information, very informative. And I definitely feel like people are going to see this broadcast and reach out to you because you are very knowledgeable, and they can check out your pages to see that you've been on many news programs as well, talking about what you do. So there you go. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. God bless you. God bless your show. Keep going.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is the end of Empowerment Week. I think we ended it pretty well, right? So thank you so much for joining and commenting and sharing this broadcast. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can reach out to me here on Facebook or IG, whichever that you find me on. And I would love to talk to you about being a guest. And again, thank you. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.